Well, things were bad, no doubt, but things will change. There will be a V-shaped recovery. Well, the finance minister said this, official think think tank said this, but of late the government is also vacillating on the claim of V-shaped recovery because the second fortnight of August has witnessed for a slowdown in consumption. So the V-shaped recovery is most unlikely, which everybody says. I have given you the figures. The economy declined by 24% in Q1. The Q2 will also most likely witness an economic contraction of not less than 12%. The State Bank of India estimates for the entire financial year is minus 10.9%. Goldman Sachs estimate for the entire financial year is minus 14.88%. And these estimates also do not reveal the true picture because we do not even know the extent of the disease continuation in India. And we are seeing the countries like Israel, which have introduced second spell of lockdown, we have seen European countries which have seen the second wave of infection. So everything is hazy and uncertain. So in a given unpredictable pandemic situation, any assessment of the future of economy with any certain amount of confidence is absolutely unsubstantiated assessment. So I'm not getting into the speculation over the possible state of economy in future, but let me certainly tell you that V-shaped recovery is not possible. Well, what can government? The government has done very well. India has given a much better stimulus to the economy than any other country. So we have done the best we can do. The government of India has announced a 21 lakh crore package. So this is the best which India can know, which any other country can do. This is preposterous argument. Well, I may be using a very harsh language, but that is the reality. So it is my bona fide commitment and it is my bona fide opinion. So I have a right to state my bona fide opinion. My bona fide opinion is this claim of the government is a preposterous claim. Why do I call it a preposterous claim? I'll again give a comparison between India and Brazil. Well, India and Brazil are a much more realistic comparison because in both are emerging economies and are at a reasonably similar level of economic standards. And also they are the second and the third most affected nations due to COVID-19. Brazil has an economic contraction of 9.7%. So the GDP is minus 9.7% in Brazil and it is minus 23.9% in India. But Brazil has given a 7.5% GDP stimulus, whereas what India has given? Well, the government says it is 10% of GDP, but there is a problem in government statement in it. Why is there a problem? The actual cash go in the economic package with the government declared is around 1 to 2% only. The remaining is a credit component, front loading. For example, the PM Kisan amount has been credited before, and the TDS, the tax refund has been taken at a much faster pace. So TCS, TDS relief has been given. This is our own money. It is essentially repackaging of budget estimates. It is essentially front loading of certain schemes. It is essentially returning our own money to us. And finally, there is a credit component. But look at the Brazil. The Brazilian credit component is almost similar to the Indian credit component. Besides, Brazil has given a stimulus of 7.5% GDP. But whereas India's economic package has a cash outgo of around 1 to 2% only. And look at United States of America. It is headed by one of the rotten politician businessman called Donald Trump. So it is headed by a Republican administration which doesn't believe in any economic concept that believes in putting money into the hands of the people. The Republican administration has a very conservative economic philosophy. But United States of America has given an economic stimulus worth 2 lakh crores. Now tell me, this is the level of, and they have even given $480 billion, 2 trillion dollar, not 2 lakh crore, sorry, 2 trillion dollar, 2 lakh crore dollars they have given. So what did we give? So I gave you the comparison between the United States and India. I gave you the comparison between the Brazil and India. Look at the United Kingdom. UK is also conservative, but 80% of the pay component in several sectors has been borne by the government to prevent job losses. Have we seen such a kind of intervention in the economy? So the claim that the government in India has done much better than any other government in the world is essentially a political claim which is not substantiated by economic data. This is not my criticism. I'll tell you the official, quote you the official data of the Q1 by the Central Statistical Organization. The CSO data says the public consumption expenditure during the first quarter has increased by only 16%. This is an official data, not my data. If the government of India is true when it said that it has induced 10% of GDP into the economy, why will the public consumption expenditure rise by only 16%? And I'm also quoting the CSO data. The first 4 months of this pandemic period, so March 2020 to June 2020, the public expenditure has grown only by 11%. If we take the inflation into account, it comes to only 4-5%. So when the government data itself tells us that the public expenditure has increased by 11% and 16%, where is the logic in claiming that 10% of GDP or 21 lakh crores were spent? If 21 lakh crores is spent in the first 3 or 4 months, well, at least a significant part of it should have been spent in 3 to 4 months. I'm not telling that the entire 21 lakh crores is for the first 4 months, but I'm sure a major part of it might have been spent by this. But why is the government data showing that the public expenditure increased by only 11%? The most surprising aspect is that the public health spending, do you know what the government of India has given for the health expenditure during this pandemic? It is meager 15,000 crores. So the government has given 1,45,000 crore tax incentive when it declined corporate income tax in September 2019. So for a handful of businessmen, the fiscal incentive by the government of India amounted to 1,45,000 crores. That was in September 2019. For 135 crore Indians, to protect them from the pandemic, the government of India has allocated only 15,000 crores. Look at the comparison. And out of this, only around 7,000 crores, over 7,000 crores, were for this period, and the remaining money is for the next 4 years. Out of this, only 3,000 crores were given to states which are on the front line of fight against the pandemic. So now tell me, is there any rationale in claiming that India's economic intervention by the government is superior to any other country? This is absolutely erroneous assumption and a ridiculous claim intended at a political project.